the attitude, the honesty, the simplicity that these Filipinos choose to live their lives. You know, I was in a dog-eat-dog world in America. I got tired of it. I got tired of the dog-eat-dog world. To live a simple life, you don't have to look far to find that when you get to the Philippines. There's over 7,000 islands, and I guarantee it, you're gonna find one island that you're gonna like. Alright guys, hope you guys are having a great day, and I want to talk about why did I make Philippines my second home. You know, it's not as crazy as you think. Was it the women that brought me over here? Sort of. Kind of. But I didn't really know anything about the Philippines, but what really brought me here was I went through a divorce. My buddy Johnny Carter invited me to come and visit the Philippines. But the topic that I want to make today is why, after 18 years, did I choose to make Philippines my second home? You know, when you come over here, it's more than just the women. It has to be more than just the women. There's women back in the US. There's women all over the world. There's beautiful women all over the world. But why did I choose the Philippines? First reason is I wanted a simpler life. Really, it just, you know, I'm getting to retirement age. And I was getting a little tired of the hustle bustle that we have in the US. And I wanted a simpler life. If you think about it, you're 60, 65 years old. I still have a almost $70,000 car in the US. Who in the world needs that? I still have a house that's worth that I'm trying to get rid of. Phone bills, $250 a month. Electric bill, I just saw it was almost $300. And I'm barely there. Water, $99. A lot of water. Cable, Frontier Cable, $98 a month. Mortgage payments, investment payments. You know, investment, it takes time. When you're younger, you can do so many things. You can do 4 or 5 different things. You can do it, but when you get older, you just don't want to do it anymore. I hear people, oh yeah, I want to invest in this, and it sounds great, but that's not for me. And why do we do that? You know, why do we do that? Why do we still want to compete at a later age? Why do we want to keep up with the Joneses? You know, all right, the Joneses has won. I'm not going to beat them. Let the Joneses win. Let them go. Forget about competing with the Joneses. Now in the Philippines, I don't have to compete with the Joneses. I don't have to compete with anyone. I just compete with myself. I just enjoy the simple life. Let me share with you. Instead of a $60,000 car or Jeep, whatever the Jeep I just bought, I have a $3,000 scooter. I started off just using trike. I didn't really need a scooter. I would use trike, I would use jeepney, I would use your local bus service. In Manila, I was using the train service. I didn't need an expense. It was very simple. If you want to get around quicker in the Philippines, especially here in Dumaguete, then I bought me a scooter. In fact, I bought me a couple of scooters. Things are simpler. All I need is just a $350 apartment and I'm fine. And that apartment includes cable or Wi-Fi. It includes water. My phone bill, well, it includes a landline. Cell phone, all I need is data, which is got less than 500 pesos a month, which is $10. You add it all up, it's about $800 a month. It's very simple. Life is really simple. Doesn't it seem like when things are inexpensive, life is simple? And when things are very expensive, it becomes very complicated. And that's what you get in America. You have a complicated life. Everything costs more, from your transportation, your food, your entertainment, health care, insurance. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And that's if you're only talking about yourself. And if you have a family, you marry a Filipina and you bring her over to the US, now your problems doubles, if not triple, if you decide to have a child. And here you are, 60, 65 years old, you have a 25, 30-year-old young Filipina, and she has a child. Ah, boy, those of you who wants to do that, more power to you. That's a tough life. It's tough being single, but it's tougher as you get older and you still want to have a family. But once again, those of you who are doing that, I commend you for doing it. It's great, but that's just not something that I want to do. And so what are you going to do in US for entertainment? The entertainment is Friday night football, Saturday night football, Sunday night football, Monday night football. Well, at least that's what I did. Watch a lot of football when I'm in the US. But here in Dumaguete, what do? I get up, I have my breakfast, I go jogging. Now that I belong to a pickleball club or a pickleball group, I'll play some pickleball at night. I love hiking up in the mountains. You've seen some of the videos of different waterfalls I've been to and hiking trails that I've been to. Some of the beaches that I've been to. It's just a simple life, right? So that's one of the reasons why I chose the Philippines over living in the US full time. Now the second reason, the United States is just not what it used to be. I was adopted by an American soldier at the age of 6 or 7. They brought me to America. And, you know, my dad was based in Philippines, Taiwan, Japan, South Dakota, Florida, Georgia. And, you know, I tagged along as a Air Force brat. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that simple life of just traveling with my dad, living on the base. I remember my dad would take me go fishing after work in Merritt Island and Sebastian Island, shrimping along the side of the bridge. Oh, it's kind of funny. When I came to America, I didn't know how to speak English. Here I am, a 7, 8-year-old kid who spoke Mandarin Chinese. You know, I was adopted. I grew up in Taiwan, and I didn't speak English. But I do remember my dad he had this big, this kind of like a hand carry 8-track cassette tape holder. When we're fishing, he would crank up Merle Haggard, Bill Anderson, Tammy Wynette, Brenda Lee. Oh man, those were the days. And I would sing along or mimic, yeah, you know, you really didn't know what I was saying, but you know, I would hear these tunes over and over and over. I would mimic them and I would sing them, and then that's how I kind of learned how to speak English. I have a little country accent in the background there that you may pick up once in a while. And another thing that helped me how to speak English in America was I would watch cartoons. That's why I sound like Donald Duck a lot. And Mickey Mouse. And I grew up with the shows like Gilligan's Island and let's see who else, The Partridge Family. I Dream of Jeannie. That was big for me. A lot of influences. I thought that Americans were all military people or cowboys and Indians. Yeah, a simple life. I remember a 7 or 8 year old kid who can't speak English. I believe my dad was in his 30s, and you know, he doesn't speak Chinese. And he was a very quiet man, so we never really communicated that much. He was just a workaholic. He would work during the day and he would come home and we would go fishing. That's very fond memories of my dad and I fishing all the time. And that's why I love fishing till today. And till this day, I still love fishing because of my dad. I get a little piece about what I'm doing when I'm fishing. I can reminisce about all the great fish or all the big fish that we caught as a young man. Simple life. Isn't that what we all want? It's a simple life. I didn't choose the Philippines. Philippines chose me. I just remember getting off that 747 in Japan and then switching planes to a 767, I believe, and we landed in Manila. The minute that I got off the airplane in the jetway, you would see these beautiful, smiling Filipinas greeting you. You had these young and older Filipino men, they're porters. They're greeting you. I just do remember a lot of smiling faces. That was my first impression of the Philippines, just a lot of smiling faces. As soon as I got to my hotel, and they were so nice to me. I think it's the only way you could feel this is when you come to the Philippines. You'll know what I'm talking about. I don't know if they train them to be this way, but the security guard, the doorman, the front desk, they're just all nice people. And by the third day, I was on a first name basis with a lot of them, and I got to know them. And they were so nice. I remember I said, hey, why don't you tell your friends? I remember the front desk clerk, the waitress at the little coffee shop, the security guard, the doorman. I said, what time do you guys get off work? And they were saying somewhere around 7 o'clock-ish. I said, well, why don't we all get together and I would take everybody out and have dinner. Now, I was prepared to pay $200, $300, $400 for everybody. But this is something that grabbed my attention. They didn't take me out to a fancy restaurant. They took me to a local pub that they hung out at. And I do remember when I bought the snacks and all the alcohol, and I think there might have been 10 or 15 people there, and at the end of the night it was only like $50 or $60. And I was like, what? The food is inexpensive. But the biggest thing that I got out of that whole thing that night was when I found out how much money most of these guys made. They said they were making, back then, 18 years ago, I think they were making about $8 a day. It blew my mind. When they told me they were making $7 or $8 a day, I was like, these are the nicest people in the world, and they are happy, or they were pretending to be happy, making $8 a day. It blew my mind. In the US, I don't know anybody would be willing to make $8 a day. There'll probably be civil unrest. But here in the Philippines, daily salary has gone up. It's about $12 to $13 a day now. That's not a lot of the improvement in 18 or 19 years. But once again, the people here are just incredible. I fell in love with the people. I fell in love with their attitude. I fell in love with how they treat others. Imagine making $12 a day, and now they have families. They would go home, you know, they have a wife, or they have a husband, and they have children. I just couldn't imagine me doing it and be happy. But that impressed me a lot about the Filipino people, how they could survive and look at life as if it's a blessing. Another thing that you have to experience when you come here to the Philippines, the Filipino people won me over. I just fell in love with the people, and that's one of the reasons why I decided to make Philippines my second home. And another reason that I chose the Philippines as my home away from home, I feel like when I'm here in the Philippines, my life has gone full circle. You know, I was adopted by an American soldier. I moved to the US. You know, I couldn't speak English, and then, you know, worked my way up to have a great life because of my dad. And now I'm very close to retirement. What do I want for the rest of my life? And I feel like I've come full circle. Prior to my dad adopting me and bringing me to America, I didn't know who my father was, my biological father. My mother was rarely there. She was always working because she was only 16 years old. Boy, it had to have been tough on her. Anyway, so I was living in the province of Taiwan, up in the mountains, tribal village. So everybody took care of everybody, and you know, I was that child that everybody took care of. I would just come over and I would sleep at someone's house, and someone's bed, and some man came home. He goes, "Hey, who is sleeping in my bed?" And I just heard that the lady goes, "Oh, that's so-and-so's son." And then he goes, "Oh, okay." So I ended up sleeping between two strangers that I don't remember who they were, but I remember that happening. I remember hanging out in the rice field in those nipa huts till wee hours of the night, looking at the stars. Very simple life. I did remember looking at one airplane going by, and I was like, "Hey, I wonder if that's where my mom is." I don't. And of course, I had many uncles and aunties. Everybody was an uncle and an auntie there, because it's, you know, when you're in a tribal lifestyle and in the village, everybody is everybody's friends. You know, you take care of each other. It wasn't until I was 6 or 7, I get a call from my aunt, and she said, "Your mom wants you to go to the city of Taipei." Next thing I know, I'm on an airplane to America. Well, now you know why I chose to live in the Philippines. It just reminds me of childhood life, how people were nice, how simple life was. That's what I'm looking for. I don't want to live I don't have to be bogged down with a big, empty home, expensive cars, expensive phone bills, water bills, electric bills, keeping up with the Joneses. I'm tired of all that. I don't want to compete with anybody. I just want to get up, have breakfast, go jogging, hang out with the locals, go hiking, go to the beach, go see waterfalls, have a nice dinner, get a massage, play a little pickleball, go to sleep early, wake up, and do it all over again. So that's why I chose to live in the Philippines. What brought me here was completely different than why I decided to live here. All right, guys, I hope you guys have a great day. I want to thank you for watching my channel, and see you next time.